Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fletch, the interim president at Clarke University, and today I'm having the privilege and honor and fun time of interviewing Mariann Kurtz, who is our Chief Strategy Officer. She's been very busy during the 10 months we have been working together, and I'm going to have her describe to you what she's been doing, what our college has been doing, and where we're going to go in the future. So first of all, Mariann, thank you for all you've been doing. You've put a lot of time and effort as this committee that you're working with into a strategic plan. Why do you think a strategic plan is so important to our organization?
Well, it's a great question, Fletch, and a lot of people ask. You know, it's over 1,000 hours that our committee, which is made up of faculty, staff, the cabinet administrators, have put in collectively since the 1st of March on our strategic plan. And that's just in our committee. That's not even including all of the separate, smaller working groups. So it's a huge investment. So why is it important? You know, strategic plan is what guides us. It's what's going to set our horizon. We've chosen that as a 3-year horizon, and it's going to tell us what we're going to focus on, and by extension, what we're not going to focus on. We can't do everything,
right? And
we have to be laser focused on impacting our students and keeping them here and helping them to succeed to graduation.
So what are some of the elements of this plan that you're particularly looking forward to?
I think the first goal of the plan is, I'm really proud that Clarke came back to its roots and embraced deliberately that living our mission and values is our very first goal. And looking at previous strategic plans, that wasn't called out. It might have been assumed, but it wasn't deliberate. And the energy that we have created around that being our living legacy and how it drives us forward. As I say, it makes me really proud, but it also is the foundation for helping our students succeed. If we live by those core values, we can't help but improve.
Right. So where do we go from there? I mean, there's some other elements of the plan that are important.
Absolutely. So we have 4 main goals, as you know. The first is obviously living our mission and values. The second is to empower student success. The third is to create a sustainable, vital institution.
Right.
And the fourth is to create a lasting legacy.
Right.
Not just for our students, but also in our community.
So you put those goals on the table and you're thinking, wow, you know, this would be great if we could accomplish that. So how do you go from the goal to what we're actually going to do to achieve those goals?
Again, a great question. So underneath those 4 goals, each one has 3 to 4 objectives, things that we want to accomplish. And each of those will have actions that will contribute to those. And that's the point we are in the process, defining the kinds of actions that we will be taking, or in fact are already underway. So for instance, under empowering student success, one of the objectives has been to create a professional advising center. We have 3 advisors who to date have seen every new student twice.
Wow.
500 contact hours with
That's
our
amazing.
new students.
Yeah.
Think about that. We didn't have that before. That was a huge gap that we have filled already.
And it was the biggest complaint that students had when I first got here. They said, our advising just isn't what it should be. It isn't what we need.
Absolutely.
And that was great that we were able to address that. Any other specific needs, I think, that we're targeting?
Again, from the student lens, right? So the academic advising is the first piece, which is getting the students into the right classes and the right mix. The second is developing improvements in our curriculum, especially our first-year curriculum, in our general education framework, and also developing a teaching learning center where our faculty are also learners, which by extension helps our students.
Right.
Our students, you and I talked about this earlier this week, our students are different, right? But that's a conversation that happens through every generation.
Right.
And our call is to meet our students where they are.
Yeah.
and help them to succeed from where they are. That's not about lowering our standards. It's about helping them to succeed and meet those standards.
Yeah, it's adapting to reality instead of wishing for something different. I mean, the students of the 70s had a totally different experience base than the students in 2023. And we need to be aware of their strengths, and a lot of their technological skills are way beyond our generation at that time. But there are other things that they need to work on, and we need to be aware of that and help them along. But it's great that our plan is addressing this. So lots of good ideas, lots of great thoughts, good people working hard and discerning those things that we ought to do. How do we make sure we get them done?
That's the meat of it, isn't it?
It is. I mean, a plan is a plan, but you've got to implement it.
Absolutely. So I see that really on 3 levels. One is our strategic planning committee has pivoted now to a strategic plan implementation committee, where we are talking about root issues, right? The plan is high level. We want to empower student success, but what does that look like? Right? And we've now had 500 contact hours with our first year students. That's terrific. But what do we learn from that? What's the next step? So that committee asks the questions, receives feedback, pushes the agenda further, and tries to prioritize resources to help us get there. So that's at a committee level. And then of those goals and objectives, each member of the cabinet is accountable for a series of those objectives. At the end of the day, they have to report back to you and through the committee to say, what are we doing today? What are we doing this year, in year 2 of the plan, in year 3 of the plan? And then that rolls up to our board of trustees.
Sure.
Right, so there's an accountability built in that this is a living document. So that's the first level. The second level then is, how are we asking each group on campus to see themselves in the plan? So this afternoon during the department chairs meeting, I'll be talking to them about the strategic plan and saying, what can each of your academic departments do in these areas? What are the actions that you would prioritize based on your understanding of needs?
Right.
And then the third level is personal, right? So we also talk a lot about, how do we make this plan happen? We need resources. Everybody wants to say, well, resources means money and people, and we don't have enough of either. We have to broaden that conversation to, what can I do differently today?
Right.
What conversation, what action, what touch point can I have that might make a difference to a student? So when I walk through the hallway and I see a student that I was hoping to get a job shadow placement with, I'm checking in. Hey, have you connected yet? Have you been to, she wanted to work with an orthopedic surgeon. Have you been to his office yet? Have you been in the hospital yet? No, my paperwork's in, but they're just a little slow. You know what? I'll give a little nudge to the office manager. I'll reach out. That's something I can do, and it costs me 2 minutes of time.
Right, nothing.
Not a check. It's checking in with a student that I've been involved with, understanding where she is and what her needs are, and then if in my power, doing something to maybe move that forward.
Yeah, well, what's excited me about this plan is that it's definitely focused on success of our students, ergo their persistence, their graduation. The worst thing I think that can happen is a student gets a debt or incurs a debt going to college and then doesn't get a degree to go on with it. So you get the money outlay, but you don't have the benefit from it. Certainly, lots of studies have shown financially achieving a college degree is better in the long run, for sure. And we want our students to enjoy long-term success. But for them to achieve that, they've got to succeed here.
Absolutely.
And it appears to me that your committee, the good work that's been done is directed right toward achieving that success. So thank you for what you're doing.